Okay, friends, we're live. Looks like the mic is good to go. How you doing? Rusty back with you here, CFLW. We are live on this Monday afternoon, tracking storms that are getting stronger by the minute here, developing across a lot of Central Florida in association with the potential tropical development that sits off of our East Coast. We mentioned it in the live stream very late last night in the wee hours of this Monday that we were going to continue to get some very impactful weather here. We have a few severe thunderstorms to get into at the hour as we get started. CFLW is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state. It's storm season. You get storm damage, wind, hail, hurricane, a burst pipe. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. So we're just going to jump right into kind of what's happening at the hour. I'm going to switch over here to my weather computer. By the way, if you guys followed last night's stream, the Melbourne radar was not doing fantastic. It was hit by lightning yesterday. And so the Melbourne radar is struggling a little bit. We'll switch over to the Tampa radar here in a couple of minutes as well. We're not getting a live level 3 sweep at this point in time, but it kind of tells the story. First of all, we had a significant thunderstorm develop in the western side of Orange County, and you snap your finger and it just went up in a hurry. So we started with a special weather statement, but we now have this severe thunderstorm warning. So we've seen this particular cell intensify quite rapidly. I'm going to dump off the special weather statement so it's just easier to see. Again, this is moving south and east out of the Oakland, Ocoee, Hamlin, Winter Garden area, Gotha towards Windermere, Lake Butler, and Dr. Phillips. Main threat, winds of 60 miles an hour, less than half-inch size hail, but these winds are going fast. They're developing very quickly, fairly benign conditions, and the next thing you know, you've got a thunderstorm with 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. We do have potentially a little bit of hail right across the I-4 corridor, just east of the Lake Buena Vista area. 60% chance hail probability with that one, half-inch size hail. Again, movement is going to be south and east. This is the actual warning right now from the National Weather Service. It looks like this. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4 o'clock for southwest Orange County. Severe thunderstorm over Bay Hill or Windermere moving southeast at 20. 60 mile an hour winds, damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Orlando, Windermere, Bay, Lake, Oak Ridge, and Belle Isle, some of the areas that are included. Again, that's the summary right now in that area. Additional strong thunderstorms have developed north of there as well. Another severe thunderstorm warning just east of Gainesville in the Alachua County area. But when we put back on the special weather statements, you have multiple ones that are now into portions of Marion County and on the doorstep of Northern Lake and Sumter counties as well. So the newest special weather statement looks like this. We've got a south motion at 16, max winds of 50 miles an hour. So again, portions of Marion County, including Bellevue and Silver Spring Shores and Lake Weir. And then the one that's farther off towards the west, that gets a little bit deeper into Marion County as far as going west towards I-75 and Ocala, including Interlochen and Melrose, Fort McCoy, Juniper Springs, places like that. Those for wind gusts of up to 55 miles an hour. So the main threat right now is going to be the winds produced out of some of these storms. The movement is really just kind of beginning to develop. It's definitely a south movement, if anything else. There's a little bit of a back building off towards the east as well. And again, this is all on the western extent. Doesn't this look more impressive, by the way, already? Hurricane reconnaissance aircraft scheduled to investigate this now developing elongated surface low off the Brevard County coastline tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to up that and try and get out later today, but right now the latest message of the day from the Hurricane Center says that they're going to investigate that tomorrow. I mean, obviously, their reconnaissance aircraft can get there in a hurry, that it's just off of our East Coast. Good to see you guys in the chat. Hi, Therese. How you doing? Thanks for taking a quick second, by the way, and liking this live stream. You have specific questions about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. Again, just jumping on right now because I wanted to give you guys an idea of what I expect to happen for the rest of the afternoon. And, you know, the fact that we do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings, especially the one over the the Winter Garden area in the western side of Orange County. We've had some stronger storms in Polk and Osceola as well. Earlier in the day, we had decent storms over Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete. We've had additional showers redevelop over Hernando, Pasco, and inland sides of Hillsborough County. You can clearly see a little bit of an onshore breeze right now. There's a nice little outflow boundary coming into the eastern sides of Osceola County out of Brevard County, where we had some heavier rain over the Merritt Island area. But as I have mentioned as many times as I can recount in the previous couple of days, this is a very active situation for us, at least through tomorrow night, if not even through portions of Wednesday, as this, what is forecast to become a surface-based low, tracks right across our area and into the eastern Gulf. At last check, and this was this afternoon, the National Hurricane Center has put this at a 50% chance to develop it, okay? But you notice now that unlike yesterday, where this was just an X marks the spot and the line drawn through, and then here's the development zone in the eastern Gulf, now they are not discounting the opportunity that we could get a tropical depression even before it moves along the East Coast. So that's why this yellow area has been expanded and filled in, because now there's at least a low chance to wrap this up before it moves on. Still going to have the biggest impacts, gusty winds and very heavy rainfall. We'll start to transition, especially tomorrow, into a potential flooding event, including the opportunity for some flash flooding as well. But again, all of this yellow right now is that now 30% chance of development from the National Hurricane Center. Let me go back out to the broad perspective here, and then we'll zoom back in. Again, you know, the Melbourne radar, if you're just tuning in, was actually hit by lightning yesterday. So I've got some data flowing out of the radar site. I don't have everything right now. And unfortunately, I just lost my lightning as well. But you should assume that any of these red areas on the map have a lot of lightning associated with them. I mean, obviously, it's that time of the year. So back to the Tampa radar, again, still picking up the potential for a little bit of hail there. We have the potential for some decent hail across 27 near 429 in Celebration. So we got to monitor that situation for you as well. And again, you know, the opportunity for some of this heavier activity up in portions of Marion County to go along with it. We haven't taken a look at the cameras yet since I've jumped on, so let's do that. We'll start off in Conway. This is looking off towards the east. Not a bad shot from Conway because, again, all the thunderstorms are off towards the west, but obviously of the freshening of the breeze. Winter Garden, all right, we lost that, but I'll pick that up in just a second. Don't worry. Let's get you back out to the Disney area right now. And again, the attraction showing you certainly what's already been a fairly wet day there. Now, the winds are still at this point in time, which is great, but we're going to see additional strong thunderstorms potentially impact the attractions. This is going to be waves of rain, my friends. Again, it's not just one sea breeze interaction with that surface low beginning to develop off towards the east. We are in store for rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms. So back out to the weather computer here. Bring myself back on. Again, all the movement with this is generally off towards the south at this point in time. So right now, along the East Coast, we're okay. All right. But let me switch over to the composite radar because it might be a little bit easier for you guys to see everything all at once. Because again, we're fighting a little bit of a data issue right now with the Melbourne radar. They got hit by lightning, so they're trying to get all the data feeds back up at this point in time. By the way, the numbers that you see, of course, are wind gusts in miles an hour. You know, we've had a freshening of wind of over 40 miles an hour from time to time with some of these storms. Some of the special weather statements are up to 50 and 55. And of course, your severe thunderstorm right now for the western sides of Orange County goes for winds of up to 60 miles an hour. So again, good to see you guys live. 50%, is it 50% now? I don't know what we're talking about. The Hurricane Center has it at a 30% of development at this point in time, Blue Goose. So if I said 50, I misspoke. Hi, Kyle, how you doing? Mining away, great to see you as well. Yeah, you got some good thunderstorms up there in St. Augustine too, there's no doubt about it. So let me put this back into motion. I'm gonna take a quick second here, guys, and I'm actually resetting the Winter Garden camera as we speak. So I'm just going to let this loop. I'm going to take myself off camera. And again, look off to the right-hand side of your screen. You're going to see that developing area. Okay. I don't think you guys are seeing the black screen, which is good. Again, you have a specific question, let me know in the comments section below. I'm just doing a quick update here. Again, I see black, but you guys should see program right now. Okay, excellent. That didn't take too long, and I apologize for that. There's Winter Garden camera for you right now. Again, we had a good thunderstorm develop over the Winter Garden area, western side of Orange County, work its way east. We're now left over with some pockets of gusty winds and some heavier rainfall, but the most stout storm, which really blew up over Winter Garden, about 15, 20 minutes ago, is now moving off towards the south and to the east. So we'll go back over to the live radar and pick this back up for you guys from here. Again, just wanted to jump on. I've been monitoring the situation all day. If you guys are friends of the CFLW, the show that I normally do at 1 o'clock on Mondays, I already made a post here on the YouTube channel that said, I'm going to hold off until 7 o'clock because I wanted to kind of get a better idea of what's going to be happening here. I also thought we'd have some active weather at 7 o'clock, and it's not honestly surprising that we've already seen these thunderstorms develop in the fashion that they have. There's a ton of juice in the atmosphere, a lot of instability. You have a surface-based area of low pressure, but you also have some mid and upper level areas of low pressure along what we call a trough line, and all of that is adding to divergence or lift in the atmosphere aloft. And again, we are noting a surface low beginning to develop here. This is what this shows you, and there's your elongated trough line as well. Very clear to see that with the spin. It really has looked a lot more impressive even today. Switch over to the visible satellite imagery here so you guys can kind of get a look at that as well. Get rid of that tropical based area. So this is going to be your visible satellite imagery and then the live lightning data. That'll pop on here. We'll cut the loop down for a couple of hours. So there you go, right? Composite radar, visible satellite imagery, good blow up of thunderstorms. Again, don't have the lightning on this right now, but there was a heck of a lot of lightning. I can bring it on and you can see that. And then unfortunately we lose the lightning data. We're again having some data feed issues right now, but you can see some of the lightning that has developed there. Those are the thunderstorms back down to the Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, Bradenton area that were on the stronger side a little bit earlier in the day. But again, this is sitting off of our east coast and it's slowly going to be moving back off towards the west, which is why we're in store for a very active, wet, stormy forecast. The opportunity, by the way, to see a little bit in the way of some excessive rainfall and flooding. This is the risk area right now. All right, we're in the green area for excessive rainfall, but I believe tomorrow we up it to the yellow risk area, which means there's up to a 15% chance that the rainfall that falls across this area, including all of Central Florida, meets flash flood criteria. Okay, still only up to a 15% chance, but now we're starting to run into, how much more rain do we get? I think we're going to get widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain, but locally 6+ inches of rain. Obviously, ponding on roadways and some localized flooding goes along with it. We do have that marginal risk from the Storm Prediction Center as well. I have this tropical layer on every map, so it's going to pop off. I'll take it off. Marginal risk in the green, 1 out of 5 on the scale. Nothing extremely organized, but pulsed up thunderstorms that will quickly produce winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour will be the main threat. Look, down the road, okay, down the road, as this system begins to move inland, could there be the opportunity to spin up some water spouts, maybe a brief tornado with all of this twist in the atmosphere? The chance is always not non-zero, right? And the chance is always not zero, excuse me. It's always non-zero. There's at least a small chance. It's one of the hardest things to predict when you're talking about any kind of tropical system, even if it's a category 4 or 5 hurricane. Some produce an excessive amount of tornadic activity, others very little. But with the inherent spin in the atmosphere associated with this broad area of low pressure, that's always going to be an issue. Obviously, marine conditions along the East Coast are going to be very crummy for the next couple of days, and then these thunderstorms are going to be popping in and building in and producing copious amounts of rain and these gusty winds. So back over to, go to the Tampa radar here. I'll switch back over to the Melbourne radar. And again, so I've got some data here. got level 3, but I don't have a spin loop. Now, as of right now, they allowed the severe thunderstorm warning to expire. That's great news. Still very gusty winds associated with this, and these will develop very, very quickly for today. 21-mile-an-hour wind at MCO, nothing outrageous. Leesburg has had 23, but I promise you, the thunderstorm that produced this severe thunderstorm warning in the Oakland, Winter Garden, Ocoee area, south of Ocoee, kind of towards the Turnpike, 429 interchange and south, had winds of at least 50 miles an hour. It was a nasty, nasty storm, and that's why the Weather Service issued that severe thunderstorm warning. Heavy rain moving through Pine Hills, Orlando, Orla Vista, Metro West at the hour. We still have our special weather statement up here in Marion County. Again, Reddick, Ocala, opportunity there could be some hail on the leading edge of that as well. That area is going to be hitting Bellevue at about 4:10 today. So our friends in Bellevue and the southern sides of Marion County, about 14 minutes to the time of the most impact, and that's going to be winds of up to 55 miles an hour. Showers and storms were over Brevard County and drifted inland into portions of Osceola County. And again, this is not the only game in town. This is kind of just the first wave that has been more significant for today. Again, earlier we had some stronger storms along the West Coast. If you look at the spin, we're already starting to see additional showers and storms. And again, you know, we lose the lightning data here, unfortunately, at the end, but we're already starting to see some of that begin to curl back in. And as this system gets more impressive, the intensity of that should just continue as well. Yeah, you absolutely can, Blue Goose. That rotation is quite impressive out there. And again, if you guys are just tuning in right now, came on at this point in time because we had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. They've come back down a little bit. They were more pulse thunderstorms, meaning they really ramped up for about a 15-minute time frame, and then they kind of rained themselves out. But, you know, this is a very solid line moving through Marion and portions of Lake and Sumter counties. Heavy rain. Now, it may not be severe, may not even have a special weather statement, but there is ample tropical moisture. So these are good, healthy downpours. There are going to be some gusty winds associated with that. If you live on the northern sides of Osceola County, by the way, places like Four Corners, Celebration, Buenaventura Lakes, and as a matter of fact, it looks like in that area, they just issued a special weather statement. So we do have a new special weather statement down there for winds of up to 50 miles an hour. It's because of this cell coming out of the 27 Four Corners area. So there's the newest one on that. Strong thunderstorm till 4:45 near Champions Gate, which of course is going to be right across the I-4 area. Not a fantastic time of the day for that to happen. Winds of up to 50 miles an hour as it moves south at 10. So Celebration, one of the other areas included in that. Again, a summary of that for you guys here south. My computer has it at 12. It's more precise though, if you will, Davenport, Haines City, Loughman, and the Lake Alfred areas. So general movement of all this activity, because we are on the west side of this spin, which is counterclockwise, is of course going to be from north to south. But here you go, and it does look more impressive. 30% chance of development, more than likely will occur after it moves across their area, but the Hurricane Center now is hedging their bet a little bit. Yesterday they had that area with just an X marks the spot, and then that line across the peninsula and into the Eastern Gulf saying, look, it's going to stay broad and disorganized until it moves over Florida and into the Eastern Gulf. Well, now they filled in this area again, which states there's not a zero chance that it could wrap up before it moves on to the East Coast. It's going to be a slow mover. It'll be entering the picture later tonight and then basically slowly meandering across the state tomorrow, potentially exiting the coastline late tomorrow night or early on Wednesday along the West Coast towards the Nature Coast back down towards Tampa. But again, clearly can see that spin associated with it. It's not going to be strong, guys. I mean, we're not going to see this thing pulse up more than likely anything significant, but a tropical depression is possible east of us and even higher likelihood of that happening to the west of us. Next named storm, by the way, the D-named storm Dexter. And if you haven't caught the fact that we've had 3 named storms, and you just don't pay attention every day, it's not shocking. The 3 storms outside of Chantal didn't really do a ton. So we've ripped off 3 named storms, but none of them lasted very long at all. I mean, you know, Andrea was about a 12-hour storm. Barry did affect the southern sides of Mexico and into South Texas. And of course, Chantal over the July 4th weekend up into the Carolinas. Those were the 3 storms. So Dexter's the next one on the list, but this is a part of that. Let me show you guys again the visible satellite imagery. I'm going to just take that by itself right now. So this is our high resolution visible satellite imagery. All right. Again, with this high res, you can see some of those thicker cloud tops. Center of circulation is right about here. So all the convection is still south and east. There is some drier air still coming to the north. So obviously one of the first things that we would see if this is going to wrap up and have a true, area of low pressure, that would be supportive of tropical development. We're going to have to get some of that moisture to lift to the north and wrap around the north side of low. But again, on the surface map, we are now detecting 1,014 millibar low here, basically off of the Volusia Brevard County coastline. When I bring on bear with me here. Let's bring on, first I want to make sure that's selected. This is what we call the sandwich product. It includes the infrared and the visible satellite imagery on one. So what you want to note on this product is where you see those reds and those blacks, those are the higher cloud tops, the colder cloud tops, indicative of vertical development and the better thunderstorm activity. Again, not much, if anything, on the north side so far. Certainly south and west, but that's what's headed towards our west coast later on this afternoon and this evening as well. And then just one more look at this to help tell that story. This is the water vapor imagery. Red is indicative of drier air. So there is some drier air still nudging into the far northwest Atlantic. Again, that has to go away before this wraps up. But you see those blues as, again, rich tropical moisture developing, and a lot of that is pushing right over our area at this point in time. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hi, Marilyn. How you doing? Hi, Farrah. Thanks again for reminding everyone, and I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys joining me on this Monday afternoon. Again, live-only channel. So we're only going to be on live when there's something to talk about here across Central Florida. And right now we've had some healthier thunderstorms. At this point in time, the intensity has come down a little bit, but I still wanted to make sure I jumped on so that you guys knew that additional storms that could be strong to severe are likely to develop in the coming hours. This is not the only wave of strong to severe storms that'll be moving through. At this point in time, some of the worst weather, if you will, has just exited the southern sides of the Orlando metro area and getting down towards Kissimmee, Celebration, portions of Polk County towards the Davenport area. These storms are moving off towards the south right now. Special weather statements. Main threat's going to be winds of up to 50 miles an hour. Some of that activity is going a little bit east of south. The other one in Polk County is kind of going due south, so places like Haines City and Winter Haven could be in store for additional heavier rain and storms. It's getting nasty in Ocala at the hour as well. Special weather statement there for winds of up to 55 miles an hour. The airport in Ocala has only produced a 17-mile-an-hour wind so far, but they're on the leading edge of that gust front. And that gust front, again, will probably contain the heaviest opportunity for getting winds of up to 45, 55 miles an hour. And again, from time to time, we're picking up the opportunity for a little bit of pea-sized hail. Could be very intense, though. Could be a situation here with all the dynamics in the atmosphere and all the lift and some colder air aloft where we get a lot of small hail, right? Maybe we don't get the largest hailstones, but we get a lot of smaller hail in a couple of areas. That's not the worst scenario. Typically, when you get a lot of pea-sized hail, it's a spectacle, but it doesn't cause a lot of damage. What you really want to avoid is obviously hail sizes that are greater than a quarter. Those are the ones that are the biggest issues. Those are the ones that you want to go to leonoblilaw.com and talk to Bobby and the team about helping you with that insurance claim process. Speaking of that, I got to get my diet green tea. If you missed it, I was on last night past the midnight hour, and folks were saying I was losing my voice a little bit, and they were true, so I'm trying to keep that up because I talk a lot this time of the year, so please excuse me from time to time if I grab the old diet green tea and take a sip or two to make sure that I keep my voice quality strong. Go back over to the chat. And again, if you guys see, I think you guys do, there's a new leaderboard that that YouTube is doing right now, 1, 2, and 3. It's those with the most interaction. It's just kind of a neat thing. You guys want to fight for the top spot, you can. There's no prize or anything involved, but if you want to say, hey, I'm a big supporter of Rusty and CFLW, a lot of interaction gets you to the top of that leaderboard. We'll go back out to our cameras. Again, really interesting cloud structure. This will continue to be the case. A lot of texture to the bases of these clouds, a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere. even outside of where the heaviest storms are. There's no rain right now in Winter Garden, but you can see what was left over by the thunderstorm that developed basically right over this camera. This camera was basically on top of where that thunderstorm that became severe began to develop as it pushed south and east. That's what's left over at this point in time. It's interesting, not too far away as the crow flies, you get to Conway and the southeast side of downtown Orlando. Now this camera is looking east, right? So we're looking away from the complex of thunderstorms at this point in time. Even a little bit of blue sky out there. Boy, that just screams tropics, doesn't it? You get the nastiest of storms. You know, if you're driving up I-4, you look to your left and all you see is a wall of water, and you look to your right and you see a little bit of blue sky out there. That's exactly what would be happening right now if you're driving I-4 in the metro Orlando area. Dark skies with some rain and storms that have already moved across the attractions. Again, this is an area I'm always very mindful of, because we know that a lot of people are always outside in Lake Buena Vista, iDrive, SeaWorld area, Universal, always keeping a vigilant eye to the attractions area, especially when it comes to lightning this time of the year. But again, good heavy rain has been moving through, and would expect this area to be potentially, again, seeing additional showers and storms later today. It's going to happen. This is not the only round of storms we're going to get. It's a little bit harder to tell exactly when the next round wants to come through, but I would be very mindful for the remainder of today and all day tomorrow if you have any outdoor plans. The rain and storms are going to be extremely widespread. You should just basically count on the fact that your area is going to get some showers and storms, and some of that could be very heavy at times. Some of that could lead to some flood advisories or even flash flood potential. It's not a non-zero chance as far as that goes as well. And the twist in the atmosphere will continue to provide the opportunity for maybe some water spouts along the East Coast. Right? We'll have to watch out for those kinds of scenarios. And, you know, even a brief tornado is not out of the question. I don't think it's the main threat, but anytime you have a tropical spin like this beginning to develop, you've got to, you know, include that as part of what you're watching out for. And, you know, I always do, you know, we'll switch over to the velocity product here of the radar, and we'll keep a close eye. But if you live along the East Coast, first of all, you're in for a show the next couple of days with all these feeder bands coming in. And then secondly, you know, you have to watch out for some more intense activity and obviously elevated surf and sea conditions as well. It's not going to surprise me when we start seeing some beach statements, we start seeing some rip current advisories, we start to see some marine advisories as well. That should be coming shortly in a lot of areas. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? North part of Kissimmee, about 10 minutes from OIA. Appreciate you jumping in, Kelly, and thank you so much for saying hi and letting me know exactly where you are. Would love to hear from you guys, exactly where you're viewing from. You know, we have folks who join in from the channel from all over the country and actually all over the world. If you guys don't know, I do another channel. It's called Media Mundo. We actually have, I think it's over 53,000 subscribers. So we're 56 times less here on CFLW, but with your help, we'll get up and catch Media Mundo. But, you know, I have friends who join from Aruba and other places across the Caribbean just to support and watch the channel. We have friends from Illinois and North Carolina who joined in just because they're very interested in the weather and what we do here. I don't know, Kelly. You know, you're not the only one in a lengthy meteorological career who have asked me that, and not just in Central Florida, but all areas that I live. People think that they're snake bitten when it comes to storms. Well, I can especially tell you here in Florida, there's nothing geographically like a bluff or a cliff or a mountain range that would really cause there to be any significant split of storms. Even larger bodies of water like Lake Apopka typically don't have any kind of, influence on this. Sometimes it just can be luck, or perception would be the easiest thing I would say. I hope you get what you need, but in a geographical terrain sense, there's nothing that's really impeding any of these storms from doing what they want to do. There's no, terrain block of any kind whatsoever. But I appreciate the question. And again, hopefully it kind of all averages out. And when you're talking about Florida and tropical weather, sometimes that can be years for that to happen, right? There could be areas that just get hammered for days and days and days, and that's just the setup. Remember, old outflow boundaries also allow storms to develop near where they developed the day before, right? So if you had thunderstorms in your area yesterday and they weakened near your area, you're going to have an old outflow boundary that additional storms can develop off of today. And it's just a little bit better, again, meeting of where we could see some lift in the atmosphere off of those old boundaries. This is a much more larger scale. It's not what we call mesoscale. It's more a little bit more synoptic here when you're talking about a broader area of low pressure developing off the East Coast, which is why the thunderstorms are pretty much lined up right now across the spine of the state, from just west of Jacksonville all the way back down towards Lake Okeechobee. And really the most active weather today has all been in the southeast side of the state towards Fort Lauderdale and Miami. They've had the most persistent showers and storms and some of the gustier winds as well. So back over to where we have our special weather statements. Again, this is going to be the northern sides of Osceola County, Celebration, Kissimmee, then back over to portions of Polk County as well. We have picked up a 31-mile-an-hour wind gust in Kissimmee recently. This is what the right-hand special weather statements for winds of up to 50, moving south at 14, going to expire in about 20 minutes. And then the left special weather statement is going to go till 4:45, moving south at 12 for winds of 50. And again, some of the areas that will be impacted by that. Good heavy rain across Metro Orlando at this point in time. Not severe, but again, rich tropical downpours. Heavier rain moving back into Umatilla and Eustis on over towards the Villages and Fruitland Park. Again, we do have our special weather statement for Marion County at this point in time as well. And additional storms which are lingering off of our East Coast in association with that broad spin. We still have a 30% chance of development. So this is one of those, situations where this is going to be an ongoing active weather through tomorrow night. And again, I keep reiterating that because new folks come into the live stream, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I just want to make sure everyone's very aware of the overall setup over the next 36 hours or so. The fact that we're going to have the opportunity here for additional widespread heavier rain and potentially even some isolated flash flooding to go along with it. So 30% of risk area from the hurricane center here. Now look, all the models have this becoming stronger and stronger as it gets into the north central Gulf, potentially headed towards the Louisiana coastline, midweek. There's a lot of things and details to be sought out, but we do have a true developing low-level center now. It's about 1,014 millibar pressure. That is not strong at all. I want to be clear about that on the north side of all this thunderstorm activity. And this is what it looks like on the enhanced satellite imagery. But again, much more overall organization out of this right now, which is kicking out pulses of energy right along the spine of the state. And that's the scenario that's been developing so far today. But again, additional heavier storms are likely coming up. As a matter of fact, we'll take a look at the models for you guys right now so you guys can get an idea. I haven't looked at this, so you and I are going to be looking at this together. This is going to be the newest HRRR model. Now look, a couple of things. The HRRR model is not a fantastic tropical model, okay? Meaning that it doesn't do very well with tropical development and movement, right? But at this point in time, we still don't actually have a tropical system. So more than anything, we're looking at what the localized thunderstorms are going to be doing in this area. And the HRRR model is still much better with that. I wouldn't show you that HRRR model. Like, let's say we actually had a hurricane in the Eastern Gulf and it's heading our way. The HRRR model wouldn't be one that I would rely on for track and intensity, right? There's much better tropical models, but the overall rain product here, absolutely. Again, here's 5 o'clock today, and those storms that are west continue to push off towards the west, but here's that spin just coming in throughout the day tomorrow, all right? And there'll be ample moisture even behind it. But this spin goes right over central Florida as we get into late tonight, but especially overnight and into Tuesday. So I'm expecting there to be a lot of rain around for tomorrow. We'll back it up and we'll go step by step. Not the old ABC show. We'll go step by step. Hey Ed, how you doing? Hey Sean, how you doing? The next name is Dexter. Yep, thanks Farah. It was very reverberating, Ed, probably because how late at night it was. But yeah, there was this reverberation with the thunderstorm activity we had at midnight and even beyond yesterday. There's no doubt about that. So let me just, again, step this through. Here's 8 o'clock today again. More waves of energy coming in. 11 o'clock, midnight, And the timing of this, we'll see. But overall, again, heavy showers, downpours moving through. As we get a little bit of heat of the day tomorrow, watch things flare up. Not out of the question that I'm on fairly early tomorrow, even earlier than I was today, tracking the widespread heavy rain and storms. Now, embedded within this activity tomorrow at 5 o'clock, which is very widespread, obviously there could be some very gusty winds. You saw the rotation, right? So you have to watch out for brief tornadoes or water spouts along the coast. It's not a non-zero chance, especially with a rotating area of low pressure like that moving in. And then later in the day, we pull it off of the west coast. So, based on the HRRR model, it's getting out of here right around midnight tomorrow night. Moves into the eastern Gulf. You can see that. But on the back end of it, still a fair amount of moisture to be wrapped back in at least on Wednesday. We should start to dry out in this scenario beginning on Thursday. So today, heavy rain and storms, gusty winds, strong to severe weather. Tomorrow, more widespread tropical downpours leading to a higher chance for some flooded areas. 2 to 4 inches of rain, very much guaranteed across most of Central Florida between this morning, what has already fallen, and tomorrow night. But locally up to 6+ inches is absolutely not out of the question. And again, we are under a slight risk for flash flooding in the area for tomorrow as well, up to a 15% chance of meeting the flash flood criteria in Central Florida. So we got to watch out for that, especially ponding on roadways and some water in low-lying areas. You know the drill with that. But gusty winds can come along for the ride. Dexter is boy storm. So we had Chantal. So it does go boy, girl, boy, girl. So we started with girl, Andrea, then Barry, boy, Chantal, girl, and then Dexter, boy. So there you go. But great question. Yeah, it was banging last night in Blue Goose, no doubt about it. Hey, Vet Father, how you doing? Taveri's in the house, Northern Lake County. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for doing so. All right, so let's get back out to the current scenario here. I'm just going to bring back on all the watches and warnings. Now, at this point in time, we have no severe thunderstorm warnings, okay? So that's good. It means we're below severe thunderstorm criteria, which is, and there's only 2 criteria, 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-size hail. You got to have one or the other or both to have a severe thunderstorm warning. The rainfall rate, the amount of lightning has nothing to do with whether you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. It's winds and it's hail, and those are the only 2 criteria. We have up to 50-mile-an-hour winds right now in places like Davenport, Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes, trying to get on over towards St. Cloud. We have additional heavier rain moving into Lake County, and then we have our other special weather statement, which goes for another 28 minutes. You can clearly see that on your screen, and you can also see the hazard right there as well, up to 55-mile-an-hour winds. Get the time frame back on for you guys here so you guys see we're live. Let's check out our cameras one more time, too. Wrong button. Winter Garden. Again, the storm moved through. It's been fairly quiet ever since. There is some rain back to the northern sides of Lake County that this camera can kind of pick up on in the far distance. And again, texture to those clouds, a lot of turbulence and instability, a lot of lift in the atmosphere. What we would typically see with the developing area of tropical activity off towards our east. It's very broad, still disorganized, but very moisture-laden air, and there's a lot of lift in the atmosphere. The reason why there's a lot of lift in the atmosphere is you have a surface-based area of low pressure developing, but near that you also have a mid and upper level low kind of stacked on top of each other in what we call a trough, and that just feeds in a lot of divergence aloft, right? So the air is lifting very quickly with this, which is why, I think one reason why that system looks much more impressive than it did 12 hours ago, 1, and 2, as it comes through, it's going to have copious rain. I think there's going to be a lot of heavy rainfall associated with this. I mean, we'll have to watch out for the isolated tornado threat. We'll have to watch out for the wind threat. I think it's going to be widespread heavy rain. Conway Camp still looks good as we look off towards the east, and then back over towards Disney. Again, dark clouds there. That's the thunderstorm, by the way. This camera is looking south, so that's the thunderstorm with the special weather statement right now in the Celebration Champions Gate Four Corners area. Again, this camera is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom and the Disney property. so close to Epcot as well, looking back towards that area to the south. We had a good thunderstorm move through this area earlier in the day as well. All right, friends, you're in a flood watch. Where are you, pal? Just make sure I didn't miss anything. Any flood advisories, okay, not here. Any flood advisories will automatically come on, just like any severe thunderstorm warnings and anything like that. So typically speaking, my system updates in real time. And if you've been a follower of the channel, a lot of times we'll get severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings here faster than any other place that I can see it. And it actually freaks me out a little bit, right? Because we see it pop on my weather system and it's not even on the National Weather Service's website yet. And it's just like, okay, I'm going to believe that this is right. And it's never failed me. So you really do get like the newest information here, spot on. All right, so here's the scenario. I'm just gonna let this loop up one more time. And we can see our center looking better, still drier air north, but there's additional waves of energy coming through. So again, I jumped on because I wanted to cover the couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that we had, all right? This is not going to be the last activity that we get for today. For now, because we just have a few special weather statements, I'm gonna sign off, all right? But I already plan on going back on at 7 o'clock tonight. So regardless of what's happening at 7, I'm going to jump on, going to give you guys the newest information. We'll track the storms. If we pulse up back to more severe storms between now and then, I will jump back on live even earlier. So don't worry, I got you covered, right? Just make sure that you have all the notifications on. Again, this is a live only channel. You're not going to get inundated with notifications. What's a notification or how do you access those? If you go to the YouTube homepage of CFLW, you'll see the bell icon. That's your notifications. If you click on that, you want to make sure that under that subheading of notifications being on, you have all notifications on. That way you'll know when I'm live, because I'm live only when there is impactful weather to talk about. So no video updates here, nothing like that. I do a CFLW The Show, normally at 1 o'clock on Monday and Fridays to kind of get you guys prepared for some of the active weather. But I had already scheduled it for 7 o'clock tonight because I knew that we were going to get into a more active scenario the deeper into this Monday that we got. And we've already had, again, heavier storms developing. So keep an eye out for that as well. Please remember, friends, that CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They cover the entire state of Florida, and we are happy to announce that they are going to be the sponsor of Central Florida Weather Live for the remainder of the year. So if you guys want to do me a big favor right now, get the hearts out in the chat, give me the thumbs up. Appreciate Lean Law being a sponsor of the channel. With a growing channel like this, to have sponsor support, it's more important than what you guys might imagine. So if you guys want to support someone who supports this coverage, and there is anything that impacts your property, hail damage, wind damage, hurricane damage, they can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. So it's leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Hi, Silver Springs, how you doing? I'm good, Kendall, how are you? Kendall from the Bahamas. Like I said, everyone jumping in. Sean's in Virginia. Yeah, Sean, you've had some nasty weather there lately as well. No doubt about it. Yeah, let's get those hearts out, guys. I'm with you, Maryland. Let's keep those tornadoes away. No doubt about it. All right, so there you go. We've got Virginia in the house. We've got Bahamas in the house. We had Aruba in the house earlier. Illinois in the house last night. I appreciate that. The Texas flash floods, man, I think it's a convoluted thing. Some of it was actually some of the leftover moisture from what was Barry. I know that enhanced it, but getting into kind of the nuts and bolts why, I'm actually still waiting to kind of hear what the interest is with that, but it didn't move. I've seen it one other time like that when I worked in Oklahoma City. Tropical Storm Aaron in 2007 kind of pulled a Barry in western Oklahoma, and they had tremendous flooding there. It was amazing to step outside in Oklahoma City and feel like you were on our East Coast. Like 82-degree temperature, 100% humidity, as hot and humid as you can imagine, and sheets of rain coming in. It felt like I was back in Florida. Unbelievable. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate you. Thank you, Ed. All right, guys, we'll do it for now. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Regardless, I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. We will kind of reset things and talk a lot more about that potential tropical development area. We should get a new update from the Hurricane Center as well. Again, they are scheduled to investigate this area tomorrow. We'll see if they maybe up that time frame and they want to go check it out later tonight or even earlier tomorrow as well. But I think we're in store for more rounds of showers and storms and more impactful weather later tonight and especially tomorrow with the heavier rain. So I'll be back on at 7 regardless. Until then, friends, you all take care, but I'll see you soon.